Hello everybody, it's Crafty Rhea, and I'm back again today with another video. If you're new here, I'm glad you found me. I hope you like my channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. If you haven't yet clicked that subscribe button, I'd love it if you did. Today I'm going to go ahead and recycle these two cards. I found them on my desk. I think I received them recently in some Happy Mail, and they are just card fronts. There's no card back. And I'm going to be using them just as a regular note card. I'm not going to write anything on the inside yet. So I think I'll start with this pink one. I decided I would make the card base in pink since there's already some blue and a lot of white, and I thought it would look pretty just matted on the pink. And I want to make a standard card base, an A2 size card. So I'm going to go ahead and fold and cut my paper. I'm going to score my paper at 4 1/4. If you don't have a scoring tool, you can either just fold it in half, or you can use a paper trimmer if you have one with, the little slide with the little channel, or you can use a ruler. And since I scored it on this side, I'm going to flip it over and then fold it. That gives a really good crease because of the way when you fold it, it stretches the fibers of the paper. And you can see it makes a really flat card. It doesn't, buckle up, and then the paper doesn't crack or anything like that. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this at 5 1/2. And I'll save the other card base for another project. When I measured and folded it, I had a little bit left over. So I'm just going to trim that up just so it's even. And since our card is oriented this way, I'm going to go ahead and trim the card base down to fit on the background. I don't want to really trim too much of the bottom of this basket of flowers. So I'm going to trim it this way. I'll trim some off the top. And I want to make it at 4 1/8. I want to look at this really good. I'm going to trim just a tiny bit off this bottom in case there's a crease. I don't want to take very much, just a sliver. And then I'm going to go to 4 1/8. And that's what we're left with. And then I'm going to take a little sliver off of this right side just to neaten it up. Sometimes cards get a little bit beat up in the ends. The corners are not, perfect. I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to cut it at 5 3/8. And then I will hold it up to my card base, and I will determine if I want to make it any smaller. And I think I do. I'm going to take about another 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch off of two sides. I will cut it to 4 inches, and this one to maybe 5 1/4. Oops, wrong side. I want a little more of that pink border to show. And I think that's pretty good. Get rid of my scraps. I found this ribbon in my stash. This line here has polka dots, and I thought about looking for polka dot ribbon, but I thought this one looked just as good on that. And I'm just going to cover that pink line with it. Let me get my ribbon scissors and just give this a little bit of a trim. I have certain scissors that I really only use for fabric and ribbon, and these are just a nice small blade that's perfect for them, and that way they stay sharp to cut the ribbon really easily. My friend Melissa, I get her Patreon package, and she does eBay, and she does a lot of ribbon cutting. She's been using pinking shears on her ribbon. So I was debating whether I should get a pair of really sharp pinking shears. Let me know what you think about the pinking shears. And I'm just going to rub with my finger the little bit of adhesive that leaked out from underneath the ribbon. I will take my adhesive and run it on the card and off the edge of the ribbon on both sides, and then I'll fold the ribbon back. I think pinking shears helps it not to fray as much. And then I will go ahead and set that on there. And I think that looks very pretty. Super easy, super simple. And I decided I wanted a little something on this basket. So I'm just going to take a piece of this ribbon and I'm just going to tie a bow just as if I'm tying my shoes. I'm going to make a loop, go around, bring the second loop through, and just a traditional bow. You know, I used to think you had to have a fancy bow maker and all of that, but I think this works just fine. You're going to pull the loops to tighten the bow and then adjust your loops by pulling your tails. And put your fingers in the loops and just kind of straighten it out. And that makes a kind of a cute little bow. I'm going to cut the ribbon at an angle. And I'm going to hold it up to here. I think I need to make the bow smaller. So if you do that, you just pull your tails a little bit more. Just keep working it till you get it to be the size you want. Don't let bows scare you. You can do it, I promise. I have a special little bow maker. I think I watched Gina Kay use it, and it makes great bows. But every time I use it, I have to get it out and read the instructions. And that makes a cute little bow. I happen to have some glue dots handy, which I love to use this to attach a bow to my project. These come on a roll, and then they're just literally these little dots of glue. If you don't have that, you can use a little bit of tacky glue or some sort of white glue, your Elmer's glue. Just give it time to dry. Or if you can run just a tiny spot of this, you can do that as well. So there you go. Very cute, very easy. Just a couple of minutes worth of work. Now my next card will be this guy. I don't know who this guy is, if he's a character. It says it is, the illustration is by Dick Bruna, copyright 1995. So I don't know. If you know if this is a character or anything, let me know. Now the edges of this card are not really perfect, so I'm going to trim it down because I do want a nice clean edge, especially on both sides. I'm just going to take a sliver off just to clean up those edges. The core of this paper is white, and if there's any creasing, it will definitely show. And then I just trimmed 4 edges so you have a nice clean edge all the way around. Let me measure it up on here. I think what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to cut this card base down to 4 inches wide. I have envelopes that are that size for that size card, and I like to use them whenever possible. And this one will happen to allow it. I try to use my paper trimmer slow so it doesn't make as much noise. And that's really good. You get a good edge on that. So I'm going to try something a little fun with this. I have my little cutter bee scissors, and I'm going to fussy cut right around the countertop and all the way around the bunny. And I'm going to try to keep it as neat as I can. I don't want any of the orange to show, so I'm just cutting like into the black line a little bit. But I don't want to waste the orange either. So I have to be careful the way I'm doing it. This is a very thick cardstock, so it's kind of hard to do. I don't want to bend the cardstock. I feel that I am better with scissors than I am with a craft knife. Otherwise, I would use the craft knife. I'm going to try to hold this out here so you can see what I'm doing. And one thing that I try to do with scissors when I'm fussy cutting, I try to put the paper as far back into the blade and I slowly close the blade as I'm moving rather than do something like that. I think you get a much cleaner edge on your project. You get straighter lines and a cleaner edge that way. Whenever possible. Sometimes it's not always possible to do that. It depends on where you are on your paper. And again, I'm trying to not bend the cardstock very much because it is very thick. This isn't super hard, but it's not super easy. It's awkward, I guess. It's not hard, it's just awkward. I'm going to go in now from this side. There we go. I bent his ear a little bit, but that's not too bad. I'm going to try to cut off any uneven edges here, any orange that's showing especially. Got a little bit of orange over here. So I have that little guy and I have this background. So let me see if I were to put this background way down there and put him up. Oh, that's still going to show. I was hoping that I could use that orange background and cover it up, but it's not going to do what I want it to do. So I'm probably going to have to leave it be the same and just pop him up. So what I'm going to do is put this back together like that. Take a little piece of my painter's tape right there. I'm going to put it on the front actually, so I could take it off easy. So he's lined up in there like a puzzle, and I'm just going to hold it together with a little piece of my painter's tape. I'm going to measure on here. Yep, I do want to trim off a little bit from that top. Just going to eyeball where I want it to be. And trim. Looks like he's making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, or at least peanut butter sandwiches. Maybe he's just buttering bread. I'm not sure. I'm going to go ahead and use my glue, and I'm going to put it around the edge of this and around the bottom part of this. Not really around the rabbit guy, whatever he is supposed to be. I will put another little piece on this orange part closer to the rabbit. And then what I'm going to do is take my foam squares, and I will put a couple of foam squares on the back of the rabbit's head. Kind of put one like right there, and use my titanium scissors, cut one in half, and put one up under each ear. I'm going to put one kind of more in the middle of the bunny as well. And take the backings off. And then I'm going to go ahead and just stick this right down on the paper. Line up that bottom left and the top right corners and just gently set it down. Get rid of this tape and push it down. And that way that automatically lifts his head and body up off the paper a little bit, but yet the orange paper sticks behind it. I'm not sure if you can see. Gives him a little bit of 3D look going on there. And that's that. That's pretty simple and easy. If you wanted to put a sentiment on the front that says happy birthday or something like that, you could do that as well. But I'm going to leave him just like that. I like the plain simplicity look of him. Kind of artsy. And then we have that really, really pretty, elegant floral card. These two cards are way different from each other, but they were super easy and recycled just from two cards I had on my desk. I was getting ready to put them away, and then I thought, no, don't put them away. Make cards out of them. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. Let me know if you know about this guy at all, anything you can tell me about him, and then also let me know which card you like the best. If you haven't yet checked out my Facebook group, Create with Crafty Rhea, I'd love to have you over there. The ladies are wonderful. It's such a great, great group. And also, if you haven't yet checked out my Patreon page, the link is below. I have 5 different levels of membership, card kits, happy mail, all kinds of fun stuff going on over there. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. I appreciate all of you. And until the next video, you know what to do. Go get crafting. Bye-bye.